What up, FortWorth family? Is FortWorthFabian, BigBossFabo, back with a video for the channel, man. I haven't done Explore with Us reactions in a very long time. So I'm actually doing a reaction to when an evil mother realizes she's been caught. In today's true crime doc, we're covering the case of Deasia Watkins. Sound like somebody that went cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, man. Y'all see the thumbnail? She lost it, bruh. Wow. So this is about a 40-minute mini documentary, crime doc. So like, comment, subscribe. I'll actually link to the Explore With Us channel or playlist actually in the comment section. I'll pin it there. You can also find the link to that playlist in the description. If you like these, comment down below. Let me know if you want me to do more of these more often, man. The crime series stuff, I'm always still doing that. So comment down below, like the video, always engage with the content, man. Let's get into this reaction. Subscribe to the channel, subscribe.
What happened?
Police. I don't know. This house is big. I don't know where my little cousin at. So can you please?
Where is the 3-month-old baby?
The baby, lady. The baby is on my mama's kitchen counter with his head smashed. Now I need you to please send me.
Okay, is it a male or female?
Know where my little cousin is at. Now if a little girl pop up with a weapon, I'm not gonna have a little cousin no more. So can you please? I know it's probably hard. Can you please just send the police?
As disturbing as this find was, there was something even more terrifying lurking nearby. The killer was hiding somewhere in the house.
Look,
is the baby breathing?
listen, lady. The baby is deceased.
Okay. All right, we're setting the police and an ambulance, okay?
Mama.
What is your name, sir?
Mama, trust. Hello?
What is your name?
I'm Robert Stewart.
20-year-old Deasia Watkins and her boyfriend James Brown welcomed their healthy baby girl Janiyah Watkins on December 4th, 2014. At first, everything seemed to be going well for the couple. Deasia was excited to become a mother, and after a tough childhood of her own, she vowed to give her child the love she'd never received. But no one would have ever predicted the sheer horror that lay ahead.
This is how you order all this delivery food for cheap. Okay, so first...
It all began when Cheviot police were dispatched to the apartment where the family was living on January 25th, 2015, around midnight. Upon hearing Deasia's screams and baby Janiyah's cries, multiple neighbors had become very concerned and placed 911 calls. Police soon arrived at the residence. However, Deasia refused to open the door. When officers threatened to force entry into the apartment, a young man opened the door, who was soon determined to be James' cousin, Chris Gully. Right away, members of law enforcement detected a strong odor of marijuana and noted Deasia's behavior seemed erratic. According to official case notes, as an officer tried to take Janiyah out of Deasia's arms in fear for the baby's safety, Deasia allegedly attempted to choke Janiyah, who was only a mere 7 weeks of age.
What?
EMTs were called to the scene to perform welfare.
Whoa. When agents try to take the baby, she wanted to start choking the baby?
Baby safety. As an officer tried to take Janiyah out of Deasia's arms in fear for the baby's safety, Deasia allegedly attempted to choke Janiyah, who was only a mere 7 weeks of age. EMTs were called to the scene to perform welfare checks on both Deasia and Janiyah. They eventually managed to take Janiyah, and Deasia immediately passed out on the floor, though the cause of her having lost consciousness is unknown. She was soon moved to Deaconess Hospital for psychiatric care, where she would remain on a 72-hour investigative hold. By the following day, her diagnosis had been established. She was suffering from postpartum psychosis.
Hell no.
In addition, marijuana was found in her system, though she denied using it initially. She was placed on an antipsychotic medication. Due to side effects associated with the medication, Deasia was informed that she would have to discontinue nursing Janiyah. And based on Deasia's behavior, staff expressed concern to the caseworker that Deasia didn't seem to be grasping the seriousness of the situation. According to case notes, they felt that she was minimizing the incident, as she described it as no big deal. By January 30th, Deasia had returned to the apartment, and a safety plan was officially in place. She was allowed supervised contact with Janiyah, provided Deasia took her prescribed medication, and that either James or his sister Jaleisha was present
She
at all
off the
times.
meds. She's
But
cuckoo
a
for
visit
Cocoa
from the
Puffs,
caseworker
man.
reinforced the fact.
I was actually just watching some series about, not go too much detail, but an individual on that show, I guess had bipolar issues, and he was on meds, and when he don't take the meds, he's a whole different person, man. And we had these conversations that like mental illness is a real thing, right? And it's now more recently becoming a talked about subject, but a lot of these folks are nuts, man. And family members, friends aren't able to spot it or catch it till something very tragic happened, which is very sad about it. But even times when they're put on medication, they don't even want to take the medication.
That Deasia wasn't on board with the plan. She hadn't filled the prescription for her antipsychotic medication. The caseworker reiterated that it was imperative Deasia take her medication, or it wouldn't be safe for Janiyah to stay in the home. James made it clear that she'd have to leave the home if she didn't comply, as the apartment lease was allegedly under his name. Deasia reluctantly agreed. She didn't want to be separated from Janiyah, and in addition, she felt she had nowhere else to go. Of course, soon these concerns would no longer be relevant, as disaster was lurking just around the corner. 1 week later, a caseworker completed an unannounced visit at the residence and was unable to verify if Deasia had filled her prescription. Over the next couple of weeks, everything continued to deteriorate. By the end of February, Deasia had abandoned the apartment and moved in with an aunt. It was clear that the current situation wasn't working, and it was about to become exponentially worse. Custody proceedings began on March 6th. As paternity had not been established and a mental health assessment needed to be completed on Deasia, the magistrate who presided over the hearing granted custody to the Hamilton County Department of Job and Family Services. During the interim, Janiyah was placed in the care of Deborah Stewart, Deasia's aunt. Neither James nor Deasia were allowed to see Janiyah, and Deborah agreed to the terms. During the caseworker's visit to her home, she confirmed that she'd not allowed Deasia contact with Janiyah. She was adhering to the agreement, and baby Janiyah was thriving. But in actuality, things weren't at all as they appeared to be, nor as Deborah claimed them to be. You see, Deasia had been spending time with Janiyah, a lot of time actually. She'd moved into Deborah's home days earlier. Deborah was coping with her own personal issues and health problems. Caring for a baby on her own was just too much to handle. So Deborah allowed Deasia to stay, despite the fact that she'd explicitly agreed not to allow her contact with Janiyah. 3 days after the caseworker's visit, a life came to a shockingly brutal end within the confines of Deborah's walls. A dispatcher received the frantic 911 call early that morning.
Thanks so much to be here, Robert.
Since 911, where's the address of your emergency?
Somebody please send the police. Please. Oh,
What is the
God,
address?
help me. 5950.
3 days after the caseworker's visit, a life came to a shockingly brutal end within the confines of Deborah's
Also,
walls.
Deborah's home.
A dispatcher received the frantic
Crazy.
911 call early that morning.
Thanks so much to be here, Robert.
Since 911, where's the address of your emergency?
Somebody please send the police. Please. Oh,
What is the
God,
address?
help me. 5957 Wild West.
Okay, ma'am.
Lord, help me. Oh,
And who were you you were just talking to somebody. Who were you just talking to?
My son, he came over here. He found that I was asleep.
Ma'am, you weren't crying but I heard you talking to him. You were fine. And then when I picked up, you started crying. I need you to tell me what's going on.
The dispatcher is trying to make sense of the situation, but so far, nothing is adding up, and her skepticism is evident.
Oh my God, help me.
Listen to me. I need you to stop crying, okay? Stop crying. I need you to take a deep breath and tell me what happened.
All I know is my son came in here and woke me up and said, Mama, the baby's dead. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Here, talk to my son, brother.
How old is the baby?
The baby is 3 months. Oh my God, I'm going to jail.
Deborah passed the phone off to her son, Robert, who'd arrived at the home along with his children just minutes earlier. It was his youngest child who had arrived in the kitchen first and bore witness to the terribly gruesome scene. Robert had immediately ushered his children out of the house to safety, then re-entered, desperate to locate his mother, Deborah.
Hello?
What happened?
Police. I don't know. This house is big. I don't know where my little cousin is. So can you please...
Where is the 3-month-old baby?
The baby is on my mama's kitchen counter.
Deasia was nowhere to be found, and Robert feared she might have been in danger or had potentially been killed as well.
Okay, I need to know what happened to the baby.
I don't know what happened to the baby. I came into the house. She told me, came into the house. The baby was on the counter. My mom was in the bed asleep. I woke my mom up and we calling you. That's all I know. I don't know nothing else.
Okay. Listen to me.
Look,
Is the baby breathing?
listen, lady. The baby is deceased.
The first 2 officers arrived a few minutes later and immediately entered the home. One officer made his way to the kitchen and quickly confirmed that baby Janiyah was deceased.
Wow.
Simultaneously, the second officer located Deborah in the bathroom of the master bedroom. Officers on scene radioed for additional officers to assist. Amidst the chaos and confusion, a few officers cleared the home and, in the process, they located Deasia. She was in the bed in her room, tucked under the covers, though her hair remained visible. Officers pulled the covers back, and Deasia, without so much as a word, was handcuffed and moved to the hallway and remained under the watch of another responding officer.
What's she doing?
The rest of the home was cleared without incident.
So she just
If you
under
have
the covers
Prime,
sleep?
you can get
or
a
like,
year of Grubhub Plus free.
What was she trying to do?
That means $0 delivery fee.
Was she trying to hide or something? Was she trying to like play dead? Was she sleeping? What was she doing under the covers? Like, and they're talking about, I don't know where my cousin's at. So you didn't know to go check in her room to see if she was there? I don't know. I'm confused, man. I'm lost.
As Deborah's house had become a crime scene that would require thorough processing, the parties were moved to the Criminal Investigation Section, known as CIS, at the local Cincinnati police station. It was there that everything began to unfold, but it would take some time to get to the horrendous truth hidden beneath a cluster of outrageous lies.
All these moms killing their babies. Now think about it. I just did a reaction the other day on Law and Crime Network. A girl had given birth to a baby in a hospital, and like unknowingly to her family. Nobody knew she was pregnant supposedly, and then the baby was supposedly dead, so she hid it in the trash can. But they're trying to, I guess the autopsy will show whether or not the baby was actually killed. But this is like, these trends are too common now. Mothers killing kids, school shootings, public shootings. I need to like 2 reactions in a row.
Scoot over a little more. I mean, she's trying to move the table.
I'll move this over a little bit to make it easier for her to
Kill me. I know I did that, baby. Somebody help me. Somebody help me.
Okay, I'm confused. Did she do something wrong, or is she just being emotional right now? I mean, I feel for the kid too. I feel for the kid, but all you got to do is provide your story, give the information. What do you know? What do you know? What did you do? You know, if it's true, keeping to the story, you were asleep. You got woken up by your son, and he tells you that one of the kids are dead. You know, hopefully you had nothing to do with it. That's all we can really say at this point in time. But I only think like these type of responses or reactions tend to come when somebody's acting fishy, doing too much. If you had nothing to do with it, I mean, shed your tears. But why be so outlandish about it?
Mama, what does you want me to help you do? You can't bring back right. You know that. You go to and what can't take this. And what about us? And what about your kids? What about your kids? What about us? You being real selfish.
No, I'm not.
It ain't nothing you can do. You trying to help. It ain't nothing you can do. Listen. Take this tissue.
Baby,
Deborah's gut-wrenching cries can be heard from the nearby room where Deasia is seated, waiting for detectives to enter.
I mean, it's gotta be Deasia. Obviously, Deasia did it, but dang, mom was tripping. Mom was acting crazy.
Meanwhile, Deborah is beyond inconsolable.
This motherfucker just killed me. I can't take it. I don't think I can live through this. I don't think I can live through this. Oh God, I can't live through this. Oh, no. I can't do it. I can't do it.
I ain't gonna lie. Listening to it is tough as
My name's Jen.
That boy, baby. That boy, baby.
You gotta
More than
compose
2
yourself.
hours pass
But you-
before detectives enter
you
the
gotta
room
compose
where a
yourself.
stoic Deasia remains seated.
Hi. Are you Dee Dee? My name's Jen. This is Jake. Are you handcuffed? Would you be more comfortable if I took those off?
Right away, Deasia sets the tone for the interview. She doesn't speak or respond to detectives.
What hand do you write with?
You right or left-handed? Are you right or left-handed so I can uncuff the other hand? Just forget it. Jake's gonna read something to you, okay? Just pay attention to him.
All right.
The detective reads Deasia her Miranda rights.
Do you understand all that? Do you understand what I read to you? Or do you have any questions on it? But do you not want to talk to us?
Dee Dee.
You okay?
Dee Dee.
Do you not want to talk to us at all?
Dee Dee.
He's tripping.
How do you spell your name? Spell your name. I can't help you if you don't talk to me. Okay? I want to make sure you get the help that you need, and I can't do that without even knowing who you are. All I know is you go by Dee Dee. So how do you spell your name?
But Deasia refuses to sign off on the form to acknowledge that she has received and understands her rights.
We're going to take some pictures of you, okay? And we're going to do some other clothes. I would like to sit down and talk with you and be able to see what you need that we can help you with, but I can't do that unless you talk back to me.
Despite the detectives' efforts to elicit a response from Deasia, they are unsuccessful. Shortly thereafter, a team arrives to handle photographs.
Dee Dee, go ahead and stand up. Stand up. You have gloves on? Yeah. Make her stand up. Go ahead and stand up. Get this on. Let's do some pictures right now. Just
Sure.
can you prop them right there?
She look like Freakazoid. Hair looking wild right now. Damn, crazy.
Guys, shrimp spaghetti with the kick is what we're gonna make. You guys know that
Mad
HelloFresh
hair
makes
day.
cooking dinner easy, fun, and affordable. Let's do this. Everything is already pre-packaged, pre-portioned, so you guys have no food to waste. HelloFresh is so good, you guys.
Several minutes later, the photographs have been taken, and Deasia's clothing has been confiscated and retained as potential evidence.
You drink any of your water?
Upon re-entering the room, the
Zombie.
detectives continue to run through the gamut of classic interrogation tactics, but each proves ineffective.
Y'all just need to give up at this
Nearly
point.
6 hours in, they've gotten nowhere with Deasia, and the meeting comes to an end. After the unavailing attempt to gain information from Deasia, she was transported to Deaconess Psychiatric Unit, where, yet again, she received treatment and was kept for observation. 3 days later, she's back at the station, seated in front of detectives. And, as you're about to see, This interview is in stark contrast to the one that took place previously.
You handcuffed?
Yes.
May let me take them off. You left or right-handed? Right-handed? And I'm gonna read you a form here in a second. Okay, I'm gonna ask you to sign it saying that I read it off to you and that you understand what's on. Okay.
Once again, the detective reads Deasia her rights. This time around, she signs the form, acknowledging that she has received and understands her Miranda rights. After some general questions, the detectives begin to work toward untangling the terrible mess that led to an unthinkable tragedy.
So we're here to talk to you about the stuff that happened the other day. What I'd like to do is just go back, okay, way before any of that. We talked to James a little bit. You know, how'd you guys become boyfriend, girlfriend?
We just got to know each other first.
How long ago did you guys get that place together? Was that before you were pregnant or while you were pregnant?
While I was pregnant.
Was he working anywhere?
Yes.
Where did he work at?
McDonald's.
At some point, once you had the child, you guys went back to the house where you and James were staying together, right? So you guys went back there after you left the hospital? Okay. At some point in January, the police were called to that house there. Do you remember all that?
No.
You don't remember that very well? Do you remember after the police were called there? Like at that point, they'd taken you up to the hospital then, had you evaluated, and then you were able to go back home? Do you remember all that? Well, at some point, after I talked to James, he said that you moved out of that place and went to stay with one of your aunts. Which aunt did you go to stay with?
My Aunt Debbie.
Aunt Debbie?
During Deborah's interview 3 days earlier, her sister Cindy assisted in answering questions posed by the detective and addressed this very topic.
She called my sister one day about a couple weeks ago, asking could she come and get her. My sister, she's sick, she can't see. My sister said, I can't drive, I shouldn't be driving because I'm sick right now. And she was crying so hard, like, please, Aunt Debbie, come and get me. And she went and got her.
So she came, according to James, she came and helped pack you up and help move your stuff over there?
Yes.
Okay, so you were staying there, like, during while the stuff was going on with the court between you and the baby and James, like they're trying to establish him as the father. Why wasn't he on the birth certificate? Did you guys have some type of fight or?
No.
No?
His ID had expired. He had his ID, but since it was expired, they said they couldn't do it.
So he couldn't sign the birth certificate because of that?
Yes.
Okay.
Though James had expressed his fear that Janiyah could potentially be taken from him due to this unfortunate issue, he'd failed to file for custody. The detective shifts to another important subject.
When you went to stay with your aunt, were you taking medication then?
No, ID expired. Come on, bro.
Sure.
If that's the make or break for you being able to be on a birth certificate, maybe he didn't know. Maybe he didn't know. And he just went into it blind. But come on, bro. Come on, man.
You weren't taking any medication? Were you supposed to be taking some?
I honestly would feel guilty. I'll tell you that right now. I would have felt guilty as hell if I find out my kid died in the custody of my crazy baby moms. And the reason I couldn't file for custody is because my name's not on the birth certificate because my ID is expired. Something that little and simple. I don't know. Like, that would always be in the back of my head.
Yeah.
Or why didn't you want to take it? Just didn't? Okay. How long were you staying there before the baby came and stayed there?
2 weeks.
And then the court gave custody to your Aunt Debbie, right?
Yes.
While it appears that Deasia is clearly under suspicion, perhaps not everything is as it seems.
I was down there talking to one lawyer. I come back and they don't talk to her into getting the baby. And my niece and them, they talk her into getting the baby, her lawyer. And I didn't know what was going on. I said, we all pitch in and help, because I work. And she's retired, so I said, well, I'll pitch in. But I was like, no, we want the baby. We don't want her to go in the foster home.
Cindy explained that her sister Deborah was hesitant to take on the responsibility of caring for Janiyah. It seems she felt obligated to head the effort, though she wasn't equipped to handle everything that came along with it. Maybe that had an impact on an extreme action she'd take in a matter of just a split second. One she'd come to desperately regret.
She got the baby.
See what I'm saying? This is suspicious to me, bro. The way she crying like that is very suspicious. And I think they're alluding to the fact that she could be a suspect because she never really wanted the baby anyway. If this really has a twist and turn like that, it would explain a lot.
Yeah.
I'm most excited to come into work and to help share such refreshing stories.
Before you ended up with the police, how long were you there with the baby? About 8 days? Okay. So the night the police ended up getting called to the house, we had talked to your aunt, Debbie, and she said when she went to bed that she gave you the baby. She said her eye was hurting her real bad. She was trying to take her medication. Do you remember that? Mm-hmm. And she said she passed the baby off to you. Is that correct?
Yes. And with this line of questioning, everything begins to shift in an unnerving direction.
The night when all this happened and the police came, and you had the baby in your room, was the baby sleeping in a crib, in the bed with you, in the chair? Where was the baby at?
The crib.
It was in a crib in your room?
Yes.
One of the things we saw in the bedroom was a broken lamp. Do you remember how the lamp got broken?
No.
Obviously, at some point, something bad happened with the baby. Okay? Do you remember what happened?
No.
How did the baby get into the kitchen?
I don't know.
Do you think Aunt Debbie did something to the baby?
Yes.
You think it was Aunt Debbie?
Yes.
What do you think she did?
No.
The idea was unfathomable, but the alternative was even more unimaginable. Aside from Janiyah, Deasia and Deborah were seemingly the only individuals in the home around the time that the terror ensued. Detectives had to explore the possibility that the combination of Deborah's own personal and medical issues, along with the responsibility of caring for a baby, had caused her to snap. Perhaps Deasia's reality had truly become a mother's worst nightmare, and her own aunt had taken Janiyah's life.
I can't live with this. Oh my God. Just kill me.
She did do it, bro.
How did you kill her?
Wow.
Stabbed her.
She stabbed her?
Yes.
Do you know what she stabbed her with?
The knife was right next to her.
The knife was next to the baby?
The baby hand when I saw it.
The what? I'm sorry?
It was on the baby hand when I saw it.
So you went out there and saw?
No, when I heard her scream.
She hadn't seen the infant's lifeless body. She'd heard Robert's little girl's blood-curdling screams as the child entered the bloodied kitchen, and word of the grisly scene soon made its way through the home. But clearly, things weren't quite adding up.
How do we make that leap from the baby's acting like a normal baby to the point where we end up where it is badly injured and dies in the kitchen?
I don't know.
You don't know?
I guess when Aunt Debbie was sleepwalking.
Okay. Here's where we're gonna take a little turn. That's not what happened.
The detectives have come to this meeting armed with indisputable evidence.
At what point during all this did you have the knife in your hand?
Of course, the detectives already know the answer to this question. They just need to hear it from Deasia.
They threw me for a loop.
You never had the knife in your hand, so those aren't your fingerprints that are on the knife in there? Are you sure about that?
Yes.
So if we pull that up and your fingerprints on that knife, how am I going to explain that then?
And my fingerprints just stay on there.
They just stay on there?
You know what I'm saying? My fingerprints are not on there.
No, but I'm telling you that they are. I'm saying, how do I explain that?
By checking it?
By checking it? Why, we did check it.
No, my fingerprints are not on there because I didn't touch it.
Okay. Well, you're thinking that your aunt did it, right?
Yeah.
Even though she was completely asleep, had no blood on her hands.
Okay.
You still think she's the one that did it?
Yeah, she sleepwalked.
See, they threw me for a loop. I'm over here assuming it's the aunt, but she's just all hectic for no reason. It's like, dude, relax.
She sleepwalks?
Yes.
Do you sleepwalk at all?
No.
How should Bill and I explain all the blood and stuff that was all over you? You don't know?
No.
Take a guess. What do you think would be a good explanation?
At this point, the detectives are done entertaining Deasia's absurd claims and denials. They employ some tactics that weren't successful last time around.
Do you know the difference between a bad person versus a bad thing? Like doing a bad thing? Do you understand the difference?
Yes.
So there are people out there who are bad, okay? But there are people out there who aren't bad, who sometimes do bad things. And there's a big difference in that. And that's just what we're trying to find out. Do you think something was just going on that may have caused you to do this?
Yes.
What do you think was going on?
They were just trying to take my baby.
People were trying to take your baby from you and that upset you?
Yes.
Okay. Did that make you feel like if you did this to the baby, then nobody would take it away from you?
I didn't do nothing to the baby.
But detectives aren't yet able to overcome Deasia's denials, as she continues to claim that she didn't cause Jania's death. They continue at it and try a different approach.
I don't think you wanted anything bad to happen to the baby. I don't think that at all. You wouldn't have kept trying to stay there and be around the baby if you wanted something bad to happen to it. But you would agree that something very bad happened. Okay, and the baby is no longer with us and the baby's dead. Okay? But the manner in which the baby died was caused by somebody with very deep feelings, very strong feelings. There was a lot of angst in what was done. Somebody had very strong feelings towards that baby. Okay? And the person I find with the strongest feelings, one way or other, about that baby is you. You're the person that had the strongest connection. And what I'm trying to get to the bottom of what happened here, I think a big goal for the police is we want to know exactly what led up to this, what may have caused or what may have led you to react in such a way so that we can help somebody else from not doing it. If you could help another mother with the stuff that you were suffering from in the postpartum, wouldn't you want to do that? You know Aunt Debbie didn't do this. You don't want to blame it on Aunt Debbie. That's not going to help, okay? Do you think I'm getting a little close there with the fact that you just don't want to believe you did it? How do you?
Yes.
So, when you think about Jania, how do you feel now?
I feel real sad.
Real sad?
And disappointed.
Why do you feel disappointed?
Because I just lost my daughter and I really love her.
And none of us in here doubt that you loved her. Okay? Just because of what happened, that doesn't mean you didn't love her.
Boy, if you a cop or an interrogator, you gotta have the gift of gab, man. These boys be talking like can't nobody else talk, man. And we understand that. And we get that. We don't think that you loved her any less. We're here to support you. Right. You know what I'm saying? They talking up a storm, bro. These guys just say whatever they need to say to get you, to coerce you into giving them a statement.
I want you to tell me what made you upset that night. What started all this? What happens that makes you upset?
Nothing.
Nothing upset you?
No.
The detective directly confronts Deasia with more evidence.
How did you end up with all this blood on you when the police get there? You don't know?
No.
Well, how would you explain it? If you were the police detectives, how would you explain You with all the blood all over you. Why there's blood all over your room where you were sleeping. Why your fingerprints are on the knife.
I don't know.
You don't know?
No.
What do you think we think when we see all that?
That I killed me. That I was the one that killed my daughter.
The detective strategically transitions to the topic of Deaja's loved ones, including James and her family, as he continues to build his case in hopes that something will trigger Deaja to tell the truth.
Do you still have feelings for James?
No.
You know what James asked about you?
What?
So when I talked to James, he said to me, can I go see her while you were up at Deaconess? And I said, well, at this point, we're not letting anybody up there because people are concerned for your own safety from yourself, and they were monitoring you. And then Bill and I were concerned because we didn't want anybody else up there talking to you yet. But he asked a bunch of times, can I go see her? I think I'm the only one that can help her. I think I'm the only one that can get her to open up. I think she'll feel comfortable talking to me. I was impressed with James because given the circumstances of what has happened, I'm not too sure that I would be asking questions about you. He was upset about Janiyah, but he still was concerned about you. The rest of your family asked those same type of questions. Were you surprised to hear that James and your family was asking about you?
Yes.
Okay. And to be honest, I was surprised too. I thought they would be really, really mad at you. But do you know why they're not?
Why?
Because they don't think you're a bad person either. They don't think you're a bad person. We don't think you're a bad person. But we do think that you're responsible for a bad thing. And I'm not going to sugarcoat that or lie to you. And all the evidence and all the facts that we've collected and investigated goes right along the same line. It all points to you being responsible.
The detective explains that she needs to accept responsibility and deal with the consequences.
And we need to move forward from that. Not just for the court stuff and for police stuff, but just for the family and everybody else. Aunt Debbie didn't do this sleepwalking, did she?
No.
No, she didn't. What set this off? What happened? I do want to help you, but I want to help the other people too.
The detective needs to uncover the spark that caused the massive explosion of violence. But Deaja reverts back to her original claim. She just doesn't know. The other detective chimes in.
Do you understand Jake's trying to tell you that you're not here because if you did it. We know that this happened, that you had a part in this, okay? That you did this. He's trying to figure out, we're all trying to figure out what was going on, how or why this happened. We know Aunt Debbie didn't do it, and you know that too.
At what point, once you got to the kitchen, what happened once you got there?
This time, Deaja provides a different answer, and it's unbelievable.
You're always saying be the change.
She gonna say something real dumb, bro.
Be the change. Let's do this.
Look at my skin. You guys like, well, you're
just like the other girl who had murdered her
I'm
kid.
really about this curology life.
You know what her excuse was? She was scared. She didn't know what to do. That's it.
I took that money and I did it.
With her admission, less than 40 minutes into the interview, the denials cease. The ugly truth has finally been exposed. But it seems there's likely more to how this all came about. You recall the incident where the police were dispatched to the apartment as a result of cries and screams coming from within that night in late January. Well, as it turns out, it wasn't the first foreboding episode that had occurred within those walls. James shared some disturbing details with the caseworker at that initial meeting, shortly after Deaja had been taken off to the hospital for an evaluation. The beginning of 2015, which marked Janiyah's first month, brought along with it some changes in Deaja. According to James, she began speaking regularly about religion. While that in itself wasn't a cause for alarm, it was out of character for Deaja. Her unsettling behavior included claims that demons were present. There were times she'd be fine one moment, then uncontrollably crying the next. James had managed to capture the audio of one such occurrence as he clutched Janiyah in his arms, unsure of what else to do. He played the recording for the screener, and a hysterical Deasia could be heard screaming, "Why, God? Why me? What did I do wrong? Who are these demons? Please stop it." According to James, the incident, not unlike the one that occurred just hours earlier, was unprovoked and completely unexpected. That said, Deasia is now about to reveal her version of the slaying that ensued just days earlier, and she's poised to divulge every last nauseating detail. Please be advised that the following segment may be too graphic for some viewers. Deasia starts at the beginning.
I took Janiyah. So I changed the diaper. He kept screaming and running. And then I didn't get to change it, so I just threw it across the room. He didn't die, so I walked over there. I picked her up and banged her head and looked herself 4 times. Then, after she wasn't dying there, he cut the big old stick and hit her in the head 4 times. She wasn't dying fast enough. And that's when I ran in the kitchen and killed her and raised her off. Took the next one out, stabbed her head, told her to die. Stabbed her in the eye. She was still touching. Just cut her neck.
How many times did you cut to get her neck severed?
Until it sliced off.
Once you started stabbing her, what made you think you needed?
It's some real demonic evil stuff, bro. Evil exists out here, man. Evil really exists out here, y'all. Y'all got really got to be safe out here and pray for them ones that are lost, man. People lost out here, bro. Just the fact you could do that to an infant, that just baffles me, man. You're broken. Your mind is not there. She was already admitted to psychiatric help. I just don't get this type of stuff. If there's previous or prior incidents that to allude to even a possibility, no other chances, cut it off. If you're sending her to a psych ward, why would you give her custody just because she's living under her aunt roof? She should not even be with any vicinity of the baby at all. Even if the father hadn't filed for custody, it should go to the father side of the family or something. You know what I mean? Or maybe her side of the family, but nowhere near her. She's some type of restraining order. She can't be around the kid. I mean, obviously there's a lot of details to the story that I don't know, but if she had to go through an evaluation at some point in time, she's not fit to be a mom, bro. I mean, at that point in time, she's going to be on medication and stuff, and I think a mom on medication isn't the same mom, you know what I mean? Delusions come, hallucinations, who knows what side effects they may encounter, especially they mentioned she had postpartum. Come on, man.
You had to cut her head around even after you were stabbing her?
Yes.
What did you do with the knife after that?
Put it in her hand.
Was there a reason that you did that?
Yes.
Why did you put it in her hand?
So it would look like she did it.
So it would look like she did it?
Yes.
And then what did you do?
Kid dumb, man.
I went back down.
Deasia's revolting account is consistent with the evidence found at the scene.
What made you do that? You don't know?
No.
Do you regret what you did? Do you feel bad about what you did to Janiyah?
No.
Why don't you feel bad?
Just
earlier in
do you blame Janiyah for something?
Bad.
No.
What made you want to kill her?
I don't know.
Do you think you could have just given her to James instead?
Yes. I get in contact with him.
Couldn't get in contact with him?
No.
James, how long before Robert showed up?
A good 15.
I'm sorry?
A good 15.
15 minutes?
Yes.
Did you hear the little kids scream when they came in?
They didn't even scream. The little girl said, the baby.
So you heard all that?
Yeah. Yes.
After catching a glimpse of baby Janiyah in such an utterly brutalized state, Robert had to divert his eyes.
What do you see when you look at the child? What?
Look, lady, I don't want to describe the scene. The screen is very, very bad, all right? The little baby head is open, like open. I'm not going in there to touch nothing because I don't want to mess nothing up. I'm not going in there to look because I already seen it, but it's very violent. It's a very violent scene.
Do not go to FabLetters.com. Do not take our historically low offer. 2 for 24 shorts, 1 for $24.
We're going to step out for a minute, okay? Were you able to tell anyone else about this?
No.
Okay. We'll be back in a minute, okay?
Okay.
Would you like something to drink or anything?
No.
Water or something?
No.
Detectives exit the room and don't return for any additional questioning. Less than 15 minutes later, Deasia is headed for the Justice Center. Deasia's account confirmed the Hamilton County Coroner's report. Baby Janiyah had sustained stab wounds on both her face and head. When the coroner was asked if she could provide the number of stab wounds, she stated that she'd lost count. Janiyah's right arm was fractured. In addition, her head had indeed been severed from her body, as Deasia so callously described. According to the Hamilton County prosecutor, Job and Family Services did their job. Nevertheless, the haunting case is one you likely can't wrap your head around, and the question of why really wasn't answered, at least not completely. Deasia's initial plea in response to her aggravated murder charge was not guilty by reason of insanity, but the presiding judge ordered that she receive psychiatric treatment. It was later determined that she was competent to stand trial upon receiving the required treatment. However, a trial date never came. Deasia Watkins pleaded guilty to the brutal murder of her own infant in February of 2017. She received a sentence of 15 years to life in prison, with the possibility of parole at 13 years, as she was given credit for the time she'd already spent in custody. Due to the monetization policies of this platform, we had to make a lot of cuts and heavily censor the content of our videos. With an entire team behind the creation of each video and the cost of obtaining exclusive footage, we cannot afford to produce demonetized content. Therefore, if you would like to see less censored versions of our videos and even more exclusive content, you can do so by joining our Patreon.
There it is, man. When an evil mother realizes she's been caught. This is just crazy, man. Madness. This is what they on now, man. This is what they on now. Just lunatics. Loony bins. Unfortunately, you know, some sad content. You know what I mean? I didn't mean to have 2 videos or crime series in terms of mothers doing bad to their kids. But let me know your thoughts on this, man. Check out the Explore With Us playlist. If you're into criminology or any other interrogation videos or content, let me know in the comment section below. We'll see you guys in the next video, man. We out.